Shalom. Before I begin, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahshua, Ba'ashem, Kakadash. The honor to the apostles and elders, great millstone. Shalom to the eye, give teaching his word. That the four corners and true sincerity. Like on a lesson, we spend prayer, Ba'ashem, Yahshua, one is edifying unto the elect. Salaki. Okay, the true name of God is Yahweh, and his name means he is or exists. And his son's name, what the world calls Jesus, that's not his true name. His name is Yahweh Shai. Okay, and those names are said in the Hebrew. Okay, and those are the only names that they are to be called by. Yahweh Shai. Okay, there's no other name under heaven, right? And our job as the prophets of Yahweh Shema Shai, is to preach this word, okay, in truth and sincerity, and tell of the upcoming prophecies that are going to come to pass, as we are in the last days. Okay, as you can see, the signs of what's going on in the world. Of prices of food going up, gas, groceries, basically everything, eggs, baby formula, things like that. Prices of everything is going up. Okay, Babylon is not, not respected anymore. These nations are talking crazy against America. They're making or, threatening, World War III. Okay, that's a sign of what's to come. And as you can see now, what's going on with India and it was India and I think it was Pakistan, but it was India. Also what's going on with Israel, and as you see with Ukraine and just Russia and America just constantly, talking greasy, going back and forth. Okay, it's ultimately a sign of what's to come, right? Because the Lord told us to watch for these different signs. Okay, the apostles, the disciples turned, and asked Yahweh Shai, here in Matthew 24 and 3, says, as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us, what shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? So the disciples are asking Yahweh Shai, basically, putting in, Jake terms, like, put us on game, like, what's about to happen, let us know, to prepare themselves and to know, like, okay, this is what Yahweh Shai told us to look for, and that's exactly why we're supposed to be, circumspecting, measuring the time. Okay, because again, as I said in the beginning of the video, we in the last days, ain't no time to be bullshitting, all the Bacchus partying, trying to get rich shit, that's all that shit over with, man. Okay, it's over with. The word, the only thing that matters now, okay, is what's in the Bible, and it always mattered. Okay, but as we get closer and closer, you're gonna see it. It's the only thing that matters, the only thing that has value. It's the only thing. The scriptures, the prophecy. Okay, what is the prophet saying? Or really, what is Yahweh Ba'ashem Shai is saying? Okay, through his men. Okay, what do I need to look for to know that this is the end of the world? Because everybody knows that, World War III is just around the corner. Everybody knows that all this shit is about to, collapse. But they like to ignore it. But that's on them. Okay, the remnant shall return, like the scriptures say, and that's all that matters. And Lord willing, I'm part of the elect. It says, and Yahweh shall answer and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Hamashiach, and shall deceive many. There's going to be a lot of false saviors, okay, to deceive the flock. Okay, that's why you have to try the spirit, see if it's of the Most High. Okay, see what they're teaching about. Okay, if you got a cat teaching about the MLTB being sin, and okay, the MLTB being anything other than the CHIP, okay, that's not a man of the Lord. If you have a camp teaching about Esau can be saved, that's not a true prophet. Okay, see, we come in the name of Yahweh Shema Shai, but we're not being deceptive. Okay, again, as I said in the beginning, try to do this in truth and sincerity, 100% truth. It says, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, and see that you be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. So, and notice how it says not yet. Okay, so all these things are going to come to pass. Okay, So you may think, oh, that's just regular, you know, World War III news. Nothing bad is gonna happen to me. But you know, no. Okay, the Bible said it's not yet. So one day it will happen, right? You know, all you know, complete destruction. Okay, you know, nukes being shot off, you know, from different nations. And that's really what this lesson, you know, really is going into. I'm gonna read you know, continuing on from Jeremiah 50, because I did 1 through 10. You know, I'm continuing now. Okay, but Jeremiah 50 and 10, it says, "And Chaldea shall be a spoil, all that spoiler shall be satisfied, saith the Lord Yahweh." And Chaldea can represent America. Okay, because in the coming future, as I said, Babylon, America, you know, is gonna be destroyed. Okay, the Lord is gonna recompense, okay, America for the wickedness that it has been causing throughout the four corners of the earth. Okay, the wickedness is too great. You know, that's why the destruction is gonna come to pass. That's why America's gonna get taken down. Right? Got the NOC. I'm gonna see what that word spoil. The Chaldea shall be a spoil, all that spoil shall be satisfied, said the Lord. Babylonia will be looted until the attackers are glued with loot. I, the Lord Yahweh, have spoken. It says, because you were glad, because you rejoice, all ye destroyers of mine heritage, because ye have grown fat as the heifers is grass, and below is bulls. Right? You know, hey, you know, America, you know, Edom, Esau, Edom, okay, to the king, okay, the ruler of this society, they've grown fat. Okay, they have grown fat. You know, look at this again. Look at this kingdom, right? And they say you rejoiced. You know, let's get Lamentations. Yeah, you had to rejoice, but and I want to get in the blue letter. Lamentations 4 and 21. It says, I'm reading the NLT. And are you rejoicing in the land of Uz, O people of Edom? But you too must drink from the cup of the Lord Yahweh's anger. You too will be stripped naked in your drunkenness. O beautiful Jerusalem, your punishment will end. You will soon return from exile, but Edom, your punishment is just beginning. Soon your many sins will be exposed. So, hey, man, Esau, Edom got to drink up that cup too. Okay, and what is that cup talking about? Okay, you know, his destruction and him going into captivity. You know, because yeah, they rejoice at our downfall, but you know, judgment is going to come upon him as well. Right? But preacher to back it up, Jeremiah 49 and 12. I'm sorry, 10. It says, but I have made Esau bare. You know, Esau is being exposed, and who will be Esau today? Who will be the so-called Esau, the Edomites today? The so-called, you know, the so-called white people. Okay, you know, are really, you know, going into the elites, because they're the ones being exposed. Okay, for what they have been doing behind the scenes. You know, covering up, Salakia. You know, covering up who we are, covering up who they are. Okay, lying. Okay, everybody knows, you know, it's common knowledge now who the Edomites are. Okay, a couple years back, you know, if you would have heard the word Edomite, you would know what is he talking about? Who's it? What's the Edomite? Or if you heard Esau, you probably think about the story of Jacob and Esau. But what has that to do with today? Okay, because it's like it's prophesied that will be the nation that will be ruling in this time. It says, I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. And that's a part of, you know, his destruction. Okay, him being exposed. Okay, it's ultimately through the prophets, and ultimately, you know, the Lord. Okay, making it happen, like he's saying, 2 Thessalonians. Okay, then that wicked should be revealed. Right? Slacky, quick precept. You know, gotta go precept on precept. The 2 Thessalonians 2. 2 and 8. It says, and then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. So how is he being revealed? Through the mouthpiece of Yahweh Shemel Shai. Okay, who represents the mouthpiece? The prophets. Okay. And it says, going back to Jeremiah 49, and he shall not be able to hide himself, His seed is spoiling his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not. You leave thy fatherless children, I will preserve them alive, and let thy widows trust in me. For thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have it surely drunk again. You know, talking about us, okay, going into hardcore, you know, slavery. You know, we're not supposed to go. We wasn't supposed to go through it because ultimately we were supposed to be the ones ruling, but we went off. But listen what it says here. And art thou he? I'm going to read it again. For thus said the Lord Yahweh, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have surely drunken. And art thou he that shall altogether go unpunished? Thou shalt not go unpunished, but thou shalt surely drink of it. So yeah, he rejoiced at our fall. But hey, man, he's going to have a part in him getting destroyed and him going into slavery as well. Okay? You know, yeah, he was glad because Esau's our enemy. Okay? Because you might ask yourself, why would he be rejoicing at that? Because remember the story, okay, in Genesis with Esau and Jacob in the womb. Okay, God always have to go back to that. Remember that story with Esau and Jacob in the womb. Okay, and it was, you know, basically fighting, you know, wrestling, tussling in the womb, right? You know, we've been enemies since then. Even before that, you know, going back with Cain and Abel, there's always been that enmity, okay, with us. And also the scriptures tell us in Ezekiel, the 35th chapter, you know, gotta bring it out. You know, gotta let the precepts speak. Gotta let the precepts speak. It's Ezekiel 35:5, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Okay, going back to that perpetual hatred. Okay, so why not would this devil be happy that we got taken down? And he had a part in it as well. You know, when you go into it, okay, he had a part in the destruction of the temple. Okay, they're not kind with the Babylonians. You know, so why wouldn't he be happy? Yeah, the Israelites are getting taken down. You know, even to this day, you know, with them plotting against us, okay, you know, plotting against us according to Psalms 83, you know, making that crafty counsel, you know, come against the children of Israel to continue to oppress us. Okay, going back to that hatred, man. You know, so that Edomite that you think is your friend, or that so-called white person that you think is your friend, he can never be your friend because he's a very wicked individual. Okay, according to the Bible. So just say that which is crook. That's Salakia. If I'm going off topic, you know, spirit is Ecclesiastes 1 and Ecclesiastes 1 and 15. It says that which is crooked cannot be made straight, and that which is wanting cannot be numbered. So Esau is a very crooked individual. Okay, the scriptures call him profane. Okay, so that Edomite that you think is your friend, he's not your friend. Best believe in his mind he's thinking about a way to take you down or doing something very nasty and wicked. You know, in his mind. Okay, that's another reason why Babylon has to get destroyed, because this devil is you know, in rulership right now. Okay, I'm reading it again. Because you were glad. Remember, the NLT says, you rejoice and are glad, you who plundered my chosen people. You frisk about like a calf in the middle, and nigh like a stallion. Okay, look at that. It says your mother, that's going into the UK. Your mother shall be so confounded. She that buried shall be ashamed. Okay, and I believe not too long ago, you know, those that, you know, that went over there had to hide that they were American. Okay. You know, they had to hide that they were American. You know, because, you know, Esau, you know, being a devil, you know, America is, you know, fucking with him. Okay, screwing him. Okay, to keep it blunt. You know, people don't really like America. That's why you even have the scriptures that even those that are, you know, allies with America are going to come up against this place. It says, your mother shall be so confounded, she that buried shall be ashamed. See, ashamed. Behold, the hithermost of the nation shall be a wilderness, a dry land, and a desert. Right, now hithermost, it's talking about here in America. And also, America is called the uttermost of the nations. Why is that? Because, you know, even when you knew how long America has been ruling for, it's fairly new, okay, compared to the east. Okay, the east part of the world, America is fairly new. It's like a baby. Okay. You know, and I'm going to that word Pergamos. It's after part in issue event latter time prophetic for future time prosperity last hindermost. Okay, the last. You know. I don't have none on Google. Let me see what they do. Just to just to see. You don't have nothing. Yeah, America's fairly new compared to the East. Okay, civilization started in the East. And read it again. It says, "Your mother shall be sore confounded; she that bare you shall be ashamed. Behold, the hindermost of the nations shall be a wilderness, a dry land, a desert. Right? Shall be a wilderness, a dry land, a desert. Why? Because of the nuclear, destruction. Okay." Should we say that the Lord is going to be as when the Lord destroyed with Sodom and Gomorrah? This is because of the wrath of the Lord Yahweh, it shall not be inhabited, but it shall be wholly desolate. Everyone that go by Babylon shall be astonished at his or her plagues. Okay? It shall be wholly desolate. Now let's get that word holy first. I'm reading the NLT first, and I'm going to get the word. It says, because of the Lord Yahweh's anger, Babylon will become a deserted wasteland. All who pass will be horrified and will gasp at the destruction they see there, because it's going to be so great. The destruction is going to be so great. Okay, and why is the destruction going to be so great? Let's get Revelation 9. Okay, to put a picture within your mind, right? It's Revelation 9 and start at 12. It says, one world is past, and behold, there come two more. There come two wars, Slakia, and there come two wars more hereafter. So you had World War I, you have World War II, and now we're coming into World War III. And it says, and the sixth angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the four horns of the golden altar, which is before the Most High, saying to the sixth angel, which had the trumpet, loose the four angels which were bound in the great river Euphrates. And the four angels were loose, which were prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year, for to slay the third part of men. And the number of the army of the horsemen, Slakia, and the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000. And I heard the number of them, and thus I saw the horses in the vision. All right, let's break down that 200,000. Okay, that's 200,000 talking about those 200 million warheads, because we understand how a nuke is made. Okay, you have a nuke, right? But even within that nuke, you can have multiple, warheads within there. Okay, so that can equal to 200 million warheads. That's why it's going to be completely destroyed. Okay, it says, and thus I saw the horses in the vision, right? Because John, the Revelator, when he's seeing this, okay, he's likening it unto what? Horses. Okay, and I saw the horses in the vision, and then that said on them having breastplates of fire and of just and brimstone, and the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions, and out of their mouth issued fire and smoke and brimstone. So as you can see, it's not an actual horse, okay, issuing not fire and smoke. But again, going back to those nukes, man. Okay, going back to them nukes when they get shot off, okay, and they unleash them warheads, man. That's what's gonna issue out that fire and that smoke. Okay, it launching off. Okay, and when it's about to hit its target, issuing out them warheads. Okay, hence the head. The head. Okay, it says, and by these three were the third part of men killed by the fire and by the smoke and by the brimstone and by the brimstone which issued out of their mouths. And it said the third part of men, because you have the three classifications of men. You got the sons of God, you got the sons of men, and you got the sons of the wicked. Okay. And it says, for their powers in their mouth and in their tails, for their tails were like unto serpents, and had heads, and with them they do hurt. Because it's 200 million warheads. They ain't nothing to play with. Okay. That's why it's gonna be wholly desolate. Even you have another scripture in Isaiah 34. Okay, it talks about that line of confusion. It's Isaiah 34 and That's it. Yeah, it is 11. It's Isaiah 34 and 11. It says, but the cormorant and the bittern shall possess it, the owl also and the raven shall dwell in it, and he shall stretch out upon it the line of confusion and the stone of emptiness. Okay, that line of confusion is talking about, because the destruction is gonna be so great, you're not gonna know where Florida is, you're not gonna know where New York is, you're not gonna know where LA is, man. Hence, calling it a desert. All right, at Jeremiah 50 and 13, because of the wrath of the Lord Yahweh, it shall not be inhabited. All right, it's only gonna be what desert creatures here. Okay, it's got Isaiah 13. Isaiah 13 and 19. Start up. Oh, you can't start up. I'm gonna start up at it's a lot. But I'm gonna get with the the desert creatures. Isaiah 13 and 19. And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency shall be as when the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. Sodom and Gomorrah got destroyed with fire. Okay, fire and brimstone. And it shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there. Right, you ain't gonna be no more fucking corner stores. Neither shall the shepherds pitch their food there. The wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures. And owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there. And the wild beasts of the island shall cry in their desolate houses, and dragons in their pleasant palaces. For her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged. So the destruction will be so great. That's only going to be desert creatures that's going to be able to dwell here in America. Okay, the whole environment and habitat is about to change dramatically. Jeremiah 50 and 14. And notice how I said they shall be astonished and hissed. And how it says in the NLT they shall gasp at the destruction they see there. Because again, this destruction is not a regular 100 warhead. No, it's just 200 million warheads. Okay, the Lord doesn't even need that much. It's gonna be so great. That's how you gonna know. That's how you gonna know that it's the Lord that's gonna cause it. Okay, it says, put yourselves in array against Babylon round about. All ye that bend the bow, shoot at her. Spare no arrows, for she had sinned against the Lord Yahweh. See, it says, all ye that bend the bow. Okay, shoot at her, spare no arrows. That's not talking about actual arrows. Remember, okay, in this time, they're not saying nuclear or nukes or missiles, okay, or ICBMs, because that word wasn't, there at that time, or wasn't said at that time. So it's being said, okay, it's being likened unto it. And that's why when you read the scripture, you just can't take it for face value all the time. You have to, know what is it liking unto, right? This chapter is talking about the destruction of Babylon. It's talking about should never be inhabited. Okay, what is going to cause that sort of destruction? It's going to be wholly desolate. What's going to cause that sort of destruction? Now it's talking about the arrows, right? Okay, not actual arrows. So what object can make, okay, what object, is likened unto an arrow that's able to fly across long distances? Nukes, missiles, man. Okay. So Lord's going to use nations, okay, different nations to shoot nukes at this place. Okay, number one, you're going to have Russia. Okay, let's go back to Isaiah 13. We'll have Russia, Isaiah 13. And I might as well start at 13. It says, therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place in the wrath. No, Salakia. I'm going to get 17 then. 17. That's talking about the earth, when the nukes hit. Okay, when the nukes hit and the warheads touch down, how it's gonna be so much. Okay, destruction is gonna cause the earth to shake. I'm gonna skip down to 17. It says, "Behold, I will stir up the Medes." The Medes represent the Russians. "Against them, which shall not regard silver." It's like it. Shall not regard silver, and that's for gold. They shall not delight in it. So you see, the Lord's gonna use these nations like Russia and Iran. Okay, China. Okay, the Medes, that's just one nation. There's gonna be an assembly of great nations to come against this place. Okay, to destroy America. Okay, it says their bow shall dash a young man to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. Ain't no mercy gonna be spared in that day. Okay, just complete judgment. Okay, and destruction. You know, another precept to prove the Lord's gonna use different nations. You have Ezekiel 38, you know, could represent, you know, Russia as well, because that's going to be the primary nations, but you're going to have other nations play a part. It says, "And the word of the Lord Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him." So Gog, land of Magog, represents Russia as well. "And say, Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, Behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords." So, you know, the Lord's going to put hooks in thy jaws, you know, meaning the Lord's going to cause Russia to go to war, okay, against America, okay, to shoot nukes and go to war, you know, get into World War III with America. And it says, even all of them handling swords. It says Persia, Ethiopia, Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. All right, because you even have these other nations that's going to be with Russia. And those even nations that didn't have nuclear capabilities are going to come and, you know, shoot nukes, you know, at this place. Okay. I want to get second Esdras to prove about them arrows. It's like Esdras 16 and 13. This is, "For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp, and shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends. When they begin to be shot into the ends of the world." Okay, what can cause something to be, you know, shot, okay, into the ends of the world, to travel such great distance, distance, intercontinental ballistic missiles. Okay, again, those arrows are not talking about regular arrows, talking about the missiles, man. And it's the Lord that's going to cause it to not miss, according to Joel, the 2nd chapter. Jeremiah 50 and 15 says, "Shout against her round about. She had given her hand, her foundations are fallen, her walls are thrown down. For it is the vengeance of the Lord Yahweh. Take vengeance upon her as she had done, do unto her." So this is the vengeance, okay, of the Lord. Okay, that's why, you know, in Joel 2, the spirit of the Lord is going to be upon those nukes, okay, to be shot from those nations, and they not gonna miss. They're not gonna break rank at all, because this is the judgment from the Lord. Okay, I might as well bring it out in Joel 2 and 1. It says, "Blow ye a trumpet in Zion, and a sound of alarm in my holy mountain. All the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Lord Yahweh cometh, for it is nigh at hand. A day of darkness and of gloominess, a day of clouds and thick darkness, as the morning spread upon the mountains, a great people and a strong. There had not been ever the like, neither shall be any more after it, even to the years of many generations." Right, very dark, gloomy day. Okay, so happy times ain't coming. Okay, it's the day of the Lord. A fire devoured before them, and behind them a flame burneth. So like the day is as the garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness, yea, and nothing shall escape them. Okay, you know, right now America is beautiful, but in the times to come, going back to Jeremiah 50, is going to be made what? Wholly desolate, and nothing shall escape, and there ain't nothing escaping the destruction. The appearance of them is as the appearance of horses, and as horsemen, so shall they run. You know, going to describing, okay, you know the nukes, you know, liking them unto horses, like the noise of chariots on the top of mountains, they shall they leap, like the noise of a flame of fire that devoured the stubble, as a strong people set in battle array. Again, describing them nukes. Okay, nothing will escape them. Before their face, the people shall be much painted. All faces shall gather blackness. They shall run like mighty men. They shall climb the walls like men of war. They shall march every one on his ways. They shall not break their ranks. Neither shall one thrust another. They shall walk every one in his own path. And when they fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded. They shall run to and fro in the city. They shall run upon the wall. They shall climb up upon the horses. Upon the houses. They shall enter into the windows like a thief. Okay, it says the earth shall quake before them, the heavens shall tremble, the sun and the moon shall be dark, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. Okay, nothing will be able to escape the destruction. Okay, when them warheads hit, when they touch down, it's gonna touch everything. Okay, it's gonna touch everything, and it says the earth shall quake. Again, it's 200 million warheads touching down. Is gonna cause the earth to shake. Gonna be a big ass bouncy house. You know? So going back to Jeremiah 50:16, it says, "Cut off the sword from Babylon and him that handleth the sickle in the time of harvest." Okay, why? You know, going into those farmers. Okay, going into them farmers, man. Okay, the Lord is attacking Babylon on all sides. You know, attacking the farmers. You know, you even had so far not so long ago they had, you know, plants blowing up. Okay, why is that though? Because the Lord is making a move on America. You know, taking this place down. Okay, economically, systematically, on all sides. It says, "For the fear of the oppressing sword, they shall turn every one to his own people, and they shall flee every one to his own land." Okay. Everybody gonna try to, you know, people trying to leave America, etc. But if you ain't part of the elect, ain't no point, okay, of leaving. Ain't no point of leaving. You think you go leave and then escape the destruction? No. So Isaiah 13 and 14, and it shall be as a chased wool and as a sheep that no man taketh away. They shall every man turn to his own people and flee everyone to his own land. Okay, but that's not gonna help. It says, "Israel is a scattered sheep, the lions have driven him away. First the king of Assyria had devoured him, and last this Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon had broken his bones. Therefore thus saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts, the God of Israel, behold, I will punish the king of Babylon and his land, as I have punished the king of Assyria. I will bring Israel again to his habitation, and he shall feed on Carmel and Bashan, and his soul shall be satisfied upon Mount Ephraim and Gilead." So, hey, the Lord's gonna restore us. Okay, you know, we should be glad that this is you know, prophecy that this happening. Even now, you can see America, you know, Babylon, you know, suffering. Okay, again, going back to things, the price is going up. People can't afford housing. People are racking up credit card debt. You know, people are going broke. Okay, tariffs are constantly going up. You know, people, rumors of wars are more frequent. You know, that's a sign of, you know, Lord is about to restore us, man. Okay, a quick precept. You know, because y'all been talking about destruction for the majority of the video, but, you know, this joy coming in the morning, like it say in Psalms 30 and 4 says, "Sing unto the Lord Yahweh, O ye saints of his, and give thanks at the remembrance of his holiness, for his anger endured but a moment, and in his favor is life. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy coming in the morning." All right, joy coming in the morning, man. Okay, and the scripture said that we have an expected end. Okay, so hey, rejoice. Okay, don't be scared, rejoice. The Lord didn't give us a spirit of fear, but a power and love and a sound mind. He says, "In those days and in that time, saith the Lord Yahweh, the iniquity of Israel shall be sought for, and there shall be none. In the sins of Judah, and they shall not be found. For I will pardon them whom I reserve." All right, because we understand that the elect, their sins are going to be forgiven. Okay, Psalm 32. It says, a psalm of David Mashil. Blessed is he whose transgression is forgiven, whose sin is covered. Blessed is the man unto whom the Lord Yahweh imputeth not iniquity, in whose spirit there is no guile. So, the elect, going into the elect, their sins will be forgiven. And also, okay, the new covenant. In Hebrews 8 and start at start at 10. It says, for this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith the Lord. I will put my laws into their mind and write them in their hearts, and I will be to them a power, and they shall be to me a people. Okay, the law says commandments are going to be put within our inward parts, and they shall not teach every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, know the Lord, for all shall know me, from the least to the greatest. So with the laws and statutes, commandments being put within our inward parts, there will be no need, okay, to teach, because everybody's going to be perfected, keeping the laws and the statutes and commandments to perfection. And now we can't do that because we're in the flesh, but in the kingdom, with those new bodies, we won't have the struggle of fighting against the flesh and having to tell Jake to repent, because again, we're going to be perfected. It says, for I will be merciful to their unrighteousness, and their sins and their iniquities will I remember no more. And in that he said, for new covenant he had made the first old, not that which decayeth and waxeth old is ready. It's like, and that which decayeth and waxeth old is ready to vanish away. So, going back to Lord's going to forgive us. Okay, our sins are going to be forgiven. It's going to be like basically a clean slate. Okay, with the Lord, and that's what we're waiting upon. So that happens, after the destruction of Babylon. Okay, that new covenant. But with that alone is a lesson with edifying. I'm gonna have to make another part as well. I wanted to go to 25, but I ain't want to make the lesson too long. Lord, when this lesson was edifying, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Kakadash. Double honors to the apostle, elders, great millstone, shalom to the Icon teaching, the four corners, and true sincerity. Shalom.